They believed that the election was stolen.
Okay,
that is something that is fine for a person to believe.
Okay, and if you think the election was stolen, and if you think the election is stolen, and you send a ton of people down to the Capitol building where they're certifying
protest,
why would you peacefully protest a stolen election?
That's what he said.
No, he didn't say. He said, "I know you're going to go peacefully protest."
Down there and we're going to peacefully
He didn't say
protest.
that. No, you're putting words in his mouth. He never said that quote. That you just made. That you just invented that quote.
In this video, Destiny and Kim Iverson debate one another. Destiny once again argues that Donald Trump incited January 6th and blah, blah, blah. And, predictably, Kim Iverson picks apart his establishment narrative. With that, let's watch Kim Iverson wreck alleged criminal Destiny.
Well, he never said, go down there and stop them and do all. He said, we're going to go down there and peacefully protest. That's what he actually said. You then want to put something else in his mind and in his mouth, just like you do for all of your fellow Americans.
He said, stop the steal. What does stop the steal mean?
They believed that the election was stolen.
Okay,
that is something that is fine for a person to believe.
Okay, and if you think the election was stolen, and if you think the election is stolen, and you send a ton of people down to the Capitol building where they're certifying
protest,
why would you peacefully protest a stolen election?
That's what he said.
No, he didn't say. He said, "I know you're going to go peacefully protest."
Down there and we're going to peacefully
protest. He didn't say that. No, you're putting words in his mouth. He never said that quote. That you just made. That you just invented that quote.
Then you tell me the words that he said when he said, "Go down there and violently take it."
No, he said we need to fight like hell. You need to fight like hell, or you're going to lose your country. He said we need to give these weak Republicans, something to fight for. We need to give them a backbone. We need to help the strong ones. They're going to help us. He made these statements over, and I can read you 20 statements that he made. It was an hour speech.
Destiny, you make things up.
Well, he's the one under federal indictment.
What people are thinking. You make things up about what people are saying. You're making it up.
I haven't made up a single thing. You just made up a quote from
fantasy land.
What fantasy land?
You need to focus on facts.
I am focusing on facts. I do focus on what people say. You're the one that you didn't even know what the legal theories were that you were purporting earlier today.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Support RFK Jr. just hateful. They hate the country.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
America.
They do. Absolutely. 1,000,000%.
Look, you're just making stuff up.
What am I making up? You haven't said a single thing I'm making up.
30. Did Trump purposely block the right-leaning immigration bill that Republicans have wanted for years? Yay or nay?
Yep.
I think we covered that.
Wait, that was a yes then, right? He did intentionally block that. That was shut down.
I'm sure, just like Democrats blocked him previously.
Wait, which Democrat called? Wait, what was a Democratic leader who shot down a bill that had the support of both halves of Congress?
I'm sorry, what?
What Democratic leader shot down a bill that had the support of both halves of Congress to pass?
Which bill are you talking about?
There was a bill that was ready to go that the Republicans and Democrats supported in Congress, and Donald Trump said, no, keep the border open. I want to win the next election.
So then Republicans apparently opposed it because he doesn't have the power to just say, don't pass this bill. You can't pass this bill. People had to actually vote on that, right? So a bunch of Republicans decided to go along with what he wanted.
Yes, they were bullied by Trump.
How is that any different than what happened when Democrats were also blocking any sort of border bills when Donald Trump was president?
Because Democrats not agreeing with a bill and not wanting to vote for it is different than an independent leader like a Hillary Clinton or a Barack Obama or Biden saying, guys, don't vote on this piece of legislation. We want to keep the border open.
Kim Iverson got something very accurate here that people don't point out enough. When Destiny's debating, he always tells people what other people are thinking, even if they say something different. He says, but this is what they really mean. He likes to tell everyone what everyone else is thinking because he thinks he's a genius. And he either misquotes things or mischaracterizes the context in which quotes were said. Stop the steal. That was originated by Roger Stone at that time. But Donald Trump didn't say, hey guys, go to the Capitol and stop the steal. And then the stupid fight like hell argument. I remember when they were investigating Donald Trump for inciting an insurrection. One of Trump's attorneys got up in front of Congress and played this long montage of Democrats saying we need to go out there and fight. For Destiny to equate, you need to fight like hell for our or we'll lose our democracy. Is that secret code to overthrow the government? Stop it. And Destiny is right. He did say, I know you'll protest peacefully because we're the party of law and order. Destiny's arguing semantics. I've probably said it 100 times on this channel, but we all know that January 6th was a protest that got out of hand. I don't know any conservatives that condone that behavior or their actions, but it wasn't an insurrection. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself to anyone who listens to this channel regularly, but it's relevant. FBI informants on the ground in real time said this was not a planned thing. This is a protest that got out of hand. Also, we are one of, if not the most armed countries in the world. You're telling me that an insurrection was planned and no one showed up with a firearm? Destiny is just so completely wrong here. And the thing is, he thinks he's so much smarter than everyone. It's unbelievable that he doesn't see that all he does is parrot establishment talking points. I know there are shills for the right wing or shills for the left wing, or you have bias for the right wing. I certainly do, or bias for the left wing. But to shill for the establishment, I mean, he literally, every talking point of his essentially says, trust the government. And he'll give whatever the exact government narrative is. If he had any humility or the ability to self-reflect, he'd probably be embarrassed that he's a shill for the establishment. And before we get back to the video, I can definitively say I do not know if Donald Trump spoke to members of Congress and killed that quote-unquote bipartisan border bill. But again, because he thinks he's an expert in everything and knows what everybody else is thinking and saying, Destiny believes he knows definitively that Donald Trump did that. What evidence does he have? This is just like all the Hitler talk and Nazi talk. Most things people criticize Donald Trump about is something he said in jest or they heard that he said second or third hand. So my position is, even if Donald Trump did tell Republicans to kill that bill for political reasons, I cannot believe that Republicans would have been in favor of that ridiculous bill. I'm sure most of you know it, but one of the craziest things was the border couldn't be locked down until an average of 5,000 illegal immigrants were coming into the country over a week's time. So if 4,999 illegal immigrants came in a week's time, keep on coming in. I mean, do the math. That's pretty darn far from a secure border. Not to mention, it's not surprising that Democrats were in favor of this bill because it was throwing a ton of money at this problem that Donald Trump fixed with the swipe of a pen in an executive order. That is classic Democrat lazy strategy. Just throw money at things. And a lot of the money wasn't specified well enough, and you know it would have gotten blown and wasted, just like all the waste, fraud, and abuse we're finding now. So I can't stand Destiny's arguments. I've just heard it so many times. It's exhausting. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
How each Democrat felt. I'm sure that there were Democrats that actually did agree, but they went with the party line.
Because we can look and see what they say publicly, and we have...
Yeah, what they say publicly is to support the party line.
Supporting the party line is different than this leader was telling us that we need to change our vote. The Republicans were on board with the border bill.
What's the difference? The party line is from the leadership.
The difference is that there's a party line that people probably believe in, and there are individual candidates that might put themselves over the party or the country, which is what Donald Trump did. The Republicans were ready to support a bill in Congress, and Donald Trump said, don't support it, I want to win the next election. Democrats don't do that.
Why are there so many former left-wingers turning into rank-and-file Republicans? What are your thoughts?
Like a lot of Democrats are switching over to the Republican Party. I mean, I think we're seeing a shakeup of the parties, and we're seeing a lot of people from the right, like Dick Cheney, move to the left. Or I wouldn't say right to left. I would say perhaps the parties are shifting themselves. So we've seen, you know, like a lot of the intelligence community, the warmongering community, the military-industrial complex, the Dick Cheneys of the world supporting Democrats, and we're seeing people who had...
Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney are warmongers, and they hate Trump. That's all it took to get them to support the furthest left-leaning Democrat candidate in the history of the country. That's how principled they are. Go against all of their far-right beliefs because they don't like a man, because they want to support the military-industrial complex. Yeah, they're real principled. It's just crazy. Dick Cheney has been universally despised ever since he left office for his role in wasting billions of tax dollars in getting I don't know how many American soldiers killed in Iraq when he convinced George Bush to take down Saddam Hussein with literally zero evidence that they had weapons of mass destruction. But the second he said, I'll support Kamala Harris, the desperate losers in her party were like, sounds great, Dick. Come on over. I genuinely don't think if Dick Cheney had endorsed Donald Trump that he even would have accepted it. There would be zero upside. Can you imagine? This is something nobody ever brings up with that whole Dick Cheney endorsement. the press would have brought up what a monster Dick Cheney is and how crazy and awful it was that Donald Trump would align with someone like that. But when the Democrats embraced him, they were like, what a great endorsement. It's so great to see them coming together. And suddenly they seem to forget all the Americans, not to mention the people from other countries that one man, Dick Cheney, got killed. Anyway, let's wrap up the video.
Previously been Kennedy Democrats, now supporting Republicans.
I think what you're actually saying is just there are some people very far on the left who are anti-establishment, who hate the United States, and these people find themselves in easy company when it goes to aligning with people on the very far right. And then I think that the fact that like the whole MAGA people are generally just anti-establishment means that it's very easy to get anybody else that hates the United States or hates the establishment or takes foreign money from people like Russia or Iran or China to all go and join their groups as well. So I think that it's a pretty easy alliance when you get a bunch of people that hate the state, hate the government, hate the institutions, and are just in general anti-establishment. And they
I don't
stand
pretend
for
to know how people are thinking or feeling, nor do I have any desire to insult people.
How, you don't know what people are thinking or feel. How do you make comments on anything publicly?
I'm not going
ever?
to sit here and claim that all of these people hate America when they're participating in the democratic process. I'm not going to make those types of characterizations or call them basket of deplorables or do any sort of insulting of my fellow Americans because they're participating in democracy and they decide that the person that you want to vote for is not who they want to vote for.
Okay, well,
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. I literally want to save that sound bite right there. She said, I don't want to presume what other people are thinking or feeling because I don't know. And Destiny literally said, how do you not know what other people are thinking and feeling? He literally, like I said, I've never heard him say it out loud. He literally believes that he knows what people are thinking and feeling. This guy's ego is out of control. I literally can't fathom walking around all day thinking I'm smarter than everybody else. Like, how would you ever learn and grow? Because if you're smarter than everyone else, you don't have anything to learn. So what you have no desire to hear anyone else's perspectives. It's just a crazy way to live your life. And I'm sure there are more people like him out there, but he's pretty damn severe. And Destiny always goes on these tangents about how the right wing hates the United States. I don't get that. Then he followed up with they hate institutions and establishment. It's so funny for a guy who thinks he's so smart, how stupid a lot of things he says are. He doesn't understand that you can love your country very much and have a ton of loyalty to your country, but you cannot like the politicians and you cannot like the government and some of its institutions. They're not the same thing. I love this country only after God and my family, but I have a lot of problems with politicians and a lot of problems with the government. What has the government ever done for you? Honestly, think about that question. What has it ever done for you? They've lied to you your entire life. Anyway, what a stupid thing to say that the right hates America. There is definitely a party that hates this country and is trying to bring it down. At least its leadership is, and it ain't the right wing. But we want to hear from you. What do you all think about this conversation between Destiny and Kim Iverson? Let us know. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.